Hello, everyone, and welcome to a episode of the podcast. I believe this is 174 with a question mark. Why not? I am your host, Zach, and tonight I have Senor Wubway.
Hello. Morty.
And accompanying us tonight would also be El Capitan Chaos Mania.
What did you just? Okay. Hello.
Did that make you Generalissimo?
So we were just briefly talking about what games we're actually looking forward to. I was gonna throw in my way. I'm actually looking forward to Infinity Warfare, I believe it's what it's called.
No, Infinite Warfare.
Infinite Warfare. That's what it was.
Infinity Edge.
I kind of really enjoy Call of Duty, and I think this might be an interesting rendition / add-on to it.
It does look neat.
And I also want the remastered Call of Duty 4. So
both do look neat. I am looking somewhat forward to Battlefield 1. I mean, I'm not like waiting on bated breath or anything for it, but it looks
neat.
Yeah.
They're like finally like, guys, maybe people can have things other than World War One.
You mean World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah. World War II is a Taft market at this point. Like, we get it. World War One, however, there's very few games.
It got so bad at the point it was like that's all you could make war stuff about.
And then Modern Warfare, and then all that. Yeah.
But like as the past, it was like just not really considered to do the other stuff for some reason.
Yeah, it's very. I don't know. It's a very popular era of time. But World War One, I'm super looking forward to. I actually just got done playing a game called Toy Soldiers, which is like a tower defense strategy game. That's sort of a World War One setting, and it lends itself to some interesting like art design and stuff like that. So
That's cool.
Yeah, World War One designs for tanks and fighting vehicles are batshit insane, and they're the coolest. Look up the Russian Tsar tank and what is it? The Gustav railway cannon and Zeppelins in general.
And the railway cannon is literally just an armored train, right?
Look it up. It's
with a cannon on
it.
I
believe it's 4 track lengths wide, and it's I believe it's the Gustav. Yeah, let me Google that. Let me double check my historical sources. Gustav railway gun. Hold on, people. We are fact checking our history.
Fire the railguns.
It will be one.
all of them.
But yeah, it's gigantic. Like here's a picture. See how big that fucking thing is. Looks like something that's like a boss in a Neo Geo game.
Yeah, it looks fucking. Oh my god, is this a German?
Yes, I believe
thing?
It was a German,
Yeah.
And it was used to like fire shells at Paris from, I believe the range was 100 miles. Some history buff is just blowing a gasket at this talk.
Yeah, they're being triggered as we speak because you're not getting every single
29
factual
miles.
thing about
29 miles.
29
range.
miles.
That's pretty
fucking impressive.
Far. Yeah.
Yeah,
And they show the
especially for
size
back
of a
then.
human compared to it, and the human can stand up inside the barrel. Like, that thing was
Oh
gigantic.
Jesus!
Yeah, World War One, interesting setting, and I'm super looking forward to it. Also,
Yeah,
interesting, not only just setting in time-wise and vehicle design, but also like the theaters that the war took place. Because you have the Ottomans, the Russians, not like Soviet Russia. It was the Tsar of Russia, and obviously Germany, and France and America, and I'm trying to think of the other major players in World War One. Again, some history
Did you know
is.
Did you know Australia and New Zealand participated in World War One near Turkey, fighting off the Ottoman Empire?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's kind of crazy.
That is. It's a very interesting war. So anyone who's looking at World War One going, "Oh, that looks boring," it's like, shut up. Well, yes,
It
but
was. It
also,
was.
shut up.
It's interesting because of like to me just how it even started is like this awkward balance of we're friends with you, but you're friends with this, and then we're upset about this little incident over here.
Yeah.
Like
It
that was started by one kind of smallish rebel group, essentially.
Yeah, it all started
Yeah.
with one assassination.
And just loads of miscommunication.
Yeah, one assassination led to an entire world war, and then and then a secondary world war, and then a Cold War after that.
A lot of war.
And then the Cold
all
War
set
led
off.
to Islamic extremism.
Yeah.
So think
Something
about
we're
that.
still fighting today.
Yeah, one assassination caused a century of bullshit.
Could you imagine? Wait, so saving him or preventing the assassination, would that
just
prevent all the coming
him that,
events?
hey, you should probably just take a nap today. Just relax. You don't need to go do whatever you were gonna do.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Like how diverse would like course of everything have gone if he
That would've
decided
been
to
crazy.
not
We
go on
probably-
that whatever he was doing. I forgot what it was, like some sort of parade, or if he was just traveling.
I think it was a diplomatic mission to Hungary, and it was Sir
Yeah.
Ferdinand.
Yeah, it was Ferdinand.
Yeah. So
My thing is like, could you imagine if like because someone's like some time traveler saves his life, right? And it changes the course of events of history.
I have theory
would that-
crafted this so much. You have no idea.
Would Russia stay a monarchy?
Probably,
right?
yes. Because
oh yeah, that's interesting.
the Bolsheviks revolted against the monarchy because of the fact that they were spending
lost
so much.
World War I.
Yeah, they were spending so much time on the World War instead of helping the serfs and all that, you know. And Germany wouldn't have gone into economic collapse, and Hitler would have never gotten elected. The Ottomans would probably still be around, and we probably wouldn't have gotten to space, at least not nearly as soon as we have, because there was the
Yeah.
space race of fighting with Russia.
Well, I mean, wouldn't it, could have still happened if like some sort of like if there wasn't war to distract us, we might have even had it earlier.
Well,
No.
the
yeah,
thing
war
with
is really good for breeding technology.
yeah, a lot of space travel was inspired by rocket technology, especially the V2 missile from Germany, because a
From
lot of
World
our
War
rocket
II.
scientists came from Germany post-war, and yeah, I wouldn't have gone to space nearly as much. Aerospace might not have advanced nearly as much as it had. Same with probably wouldn't have tanks. The only reason tanks were invented was because of the trench warfare of World War One. It'd be weird.
Yeah.
Well,
It-
we wouldn't have
and there'd be hundreds of
travel
millions of more people
Maybe
brought
yeah.
back to life.
Maybe yeah. I'm not sure the exact
Well,
casualty
no,
rate.
like you don't know if some other war might have taken place after the fact, and that one
Right.
just happened to be the trigger. Like, what if instead another trigger was waiting to happen somewhere, like in the
Decades
country
later.
over?
Yeah, very true. Possible. Who knows,
Just
man?
it only slightly deviates the timeline. Like just what would have been considered a major event only just slightly deviates the timeline. Like some things are the same, but other things are different.
Exactly. There's a slight. It only changes the spark to the powder keg rather than the entire powder keg.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's weird. Speaking of
That-
World War
yeah.
II, though, they're adding boats to War Thunder, and I'm the only one excited about it in this group. So
Because no one cares.
Yeah, I know.
Well, what
But
sort of
boats?
boats even?
like torpedo boats, not like destroyers and cruisers and all that, but smaller.
Aww. I was
Do you
thinking
know
like
how long-
battleships.
Do you know how long a fucking realistic battleship fight would go? It'd take
Yes,
hours.
Hours.
though. Yes,
Hours.
No, you kill
Play,
yourself.
Like have an arcade mode where you're literally playing like a form of battleship, and you just have to. You can't cross the middle ocean, and you have to hit each other.
That would take forever.
I don't care.
Not only would it take forever, you probably wouldn't even see the enemy. You would just be lobbing artillery in one direction, and then like eventually be like, you win, or you would eventually just get hit with shells from nowhere and you'd lose. No. Instead
So
of
Bizarre.
is it like adding? Is it just going to be a separate combat mode after that?
most likely, yeah. Or they might have, like aircraft involved in some way. Same way they do with tank battles, where you can call an
That means
aircraft.
there's going to be like a carrier as a starter base?
I don't think so. In the tank battles, you just sort of spawn in a plane. It's like a kill streak kind of thing. But who knows? Maybe. They only just announced it, so who knows what they'll be doing in a few months to a year,
Yeah, that is intriguing. So I want to move from a opposite feeling, which is disappointment, because I feel like I don't think any of us in the group that we are a part of play No Man's Sky, and a lot of the people that we do know, like Sushi Man and other people, will say it's a fun game, but it's not revolutionary.
Yeah.
It seems that way. I think Donkey's little analyzation, over a lot of his other ones, is a really good representation. Like you start the game, it's like this amazing, interesting world, and you can look at all the little stuff, but then you see how dry and stretched the formula becomes when you're just mining and doing other stuff over and over, and when you can only customize so much. It's like, yeah, it's a nice ship, but the selling point of the game is being able to explore the planets and do stuff to the planets, and then it's not much to it overall.
Yeah. It's kind of the same way that I felt about Space Engineers. I still like Space Engineers, but it's not. That's the reason I wasn't really super hyped about No Man's Sky. Cause I'm like, oh, this kind of just seems like an advanced version of Space Engineers, which is nice, and that has some random encounters like pirates and stuff like that. But oh Jesus, sorry, I just dropped my keyboard. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It just doesn't seem. I feel like I've seen the game already, and I'm not necessarily interested in it.
Yeah, it does seem like it's this same thing as Space Engineers, like the whole traveling thing, except you can't build anything in that. And yeah, there's creatures, but they're not too there's nothing specific. I was hoping that the worlds were gonna have more things on them than randomly generated stuff, because that doesn't excite me. Would excite me if you came upon a planet that actually had hidden lore dungeon whatever nonsense. Yeah, it's hard to put a whole bunch of planets with that, but some more substance. And also, another good donkey point is when there's so much to explore, it's actually not as fun because it takes longer to get to the interesting parts. Whereas if a map is slightly smaller, you're more likely to want to explore it all because all the cool stuff is ooh, what's this? Ooh, what's this? It's right next to each other. And while there is a certain balance, it's right as it looks. I probably wouldn't go out to get the game. I'd like to try it just because I like space games that you can take off on a planet, go up, and go down on a different planet. That seems really interesting, but from what I heard, even the physics aren't like Space Engineers, and I really liked that planet descent mechanic.
And that it took forever.
Well, it did take forever, but I liked how it was.
I know, I like that too, where it's it takes a long time. When you see a planet, you're like, sweet, I'm going to land, and you're still moving towards the planet. Still moving towards the planet. Holy shit, this planet's huge, and I'm very far away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Realistic.
Realistic.
I don't know. I think it's.
I don't know. Go ahead.
I think it's $60 right now,
Oh,
and they plan on patching in stuff and planning DLC that might improve the overall experience. And maybe, just maybe, because of the data mining recently, they found a lot of Xbox One and all kinds of other stuff files. So in the next 6 or 7 months, maybe 8 or 9 months, No Man's Sky will come to Xbox One, not all buggy, and with DLC and other full, just basically a more complete game.
I feel about this game the same way I felt about Fallout 4. I'm this game is going to be amazing in 2 years. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, it's good now, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's when
But it's gonna be
I was going to
great
stop playing
in
it
2
because
years.
right now they're currently sending out patches and stuff, and any of the mods put on, not only are they going to be ever changing, it's like they're still adding like DLC stuff. So I'd like to go through the story naturally. So if I happen to run into DLC content like the Nuka world or whatever, like it would happen more naturally than, oh, I just added on this thing even though I've already completed the game.
By the way, I've been posting pictures of World War One stuff in the Skype chat for a podcast, and along my way, I found out there is a Girls in Panzer movie, so I know what I'm doing after this podcast. Oh no,
What?
yeah, there's a Girls in Panzer movie.
Like,
There's a movie,
is it?
and it's Girls in Panzer.
Well, I meant like, is it
that is
following
full
after,
stop.
or is it just kind of like a movie version of?
Oh, the little gifs that I'm seeing of scenes that I have never seen. So yeah,
I mean,
tanks
it
me.
seems like interesting.
Speaking of
definitely-
anime, though, but yeah, does anyone have any final thoughts about No Man's Sky or any of that?
I'll eventually get it, but
Yeah, same.
As
I'm
of right
probably-
now, I'm gonna
if
wait.
If they do improve it, like, I'd like to. That type of game is a really interesting concept. I just wish there was more to do than, like, the both parts of it. There's not, like, I do like you can customize your ship, but if that's all you can customize, that's a very, detracting point for me. And then also, I'd like the other half of it, the exploration. I'd like there to be more like a step above just random like generated stuff, especially the creatures. If it's like only random combinations, it's not quite the same.
I saw like a little video that was like what was promised, and it shows like these like elegant looking dinosaur monsters on a planet, and it was like what was delivered, and it's some jank ass monster that looks like some sort of abomination, like
Yeah.
janking all over the ground. It's like it'll get there, I'm sure.
Yeah. So anime.
Someone is almost caught up on JoJo, and that someone is Chaos.
That's good to
Yeah.
know.
Congratulations, Chaos.
Once the fourth arc is finished, we'll probably do a making the rounds with me, you, and Chaos.
Yeah, that would be cool. Man, JoJo, there's a lot of stuff rewatching it that I didn't really notice or didn't appreciate or pay any attention to. Like the fourth arc, there's a first scene in the fourth part 4 season of JoJo with there's like a lady that's making eggs or whatever, and you like see her. It's just a view of her hand as she cracks eggs and stuff, and she like makes eggs. And she like sets down the plate on the table, and she sets her hand on the table, and then it pauses for a moment. And the camera pulls back, and it's just her hand sitting there. So there's plenty of little references to Kira and whatever his stand is throughout the show that I never really noticed.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's clever.
it is. There's like plenty of little references. I'm like, oh, that's right. I forgot about that. It's really good.
It's the work of an enemy stand.
Yeah.
I've lost a few pounds. It's the work.
Yeah. I've lost 20 kilograms. This must be the
I
work
do
of an
like
enemy stand.
it's a really interesting deviation for the fourth season. Just like going from serious, we gotta get Dio, to we gotta deal with whatever Dio's left behind.
Yeah.
Just kind of this just awkward town thing.
Crazy, noisy, bizarre town, some would say.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where the chef, I'm gonna sing. Actually, he was just fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you never meet a good stand user. Well, you know what I mean. Like,
But yeah, like
in the
other
previous one.
every stand user that showed up was part of Dio's squad,
Table, yeah.
essentially. So it throws into like oh yeah, you can just have a stand, kind of like Advil just had a stand.
yeah, exactly. People are just born with stands sometimes, and they're like, oh, hey. Yeah, no, I have this. And I just make Italian food with my stand.
Yeah. With my stand.
Italian food that does really creepy ass things to you for a good while there.
Yeah, it's like the worst type of healing where it's like, I'm gonna heal your intestines, but first you have to vomit them up.
Yeah.
But
It's worth it though.
it is worth it. This water is so good.
This water's so good, my eyes shrink. But then they feel refreshed, like I just had a good nap.
When I was watching with Chaos yesterday, I never understood why Okiyashu has all those money symbols all over his jacket and why his stand has all those money symbols over his jacket, like the dollar sign and the yen sign and all that.
Hmm.
It's because it's the hand. Like, it's an Adam Smith reference. Well, I'm assuming it's a reference to a song, which is a reference to Adam Smith. But the invisible hand is like a laissez-faire thing for economy, where it's like that's how.
Oh.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh, I get it.
That's clever.
Yeah, I'm like, that's why he's covered in money symbols.
JoJo is definitely by far it's the silliest shows, but when you dive deeper, it's made by some very clever people.
Yeah. What is it? Wacky? I want to say that's his name. Something Wacky.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like
Good
a
guy.
title. Yeah.
Yeah, especially the whole like creepy manga artist. Like,
Yeah.
you were pointing out that was like this was done by this character was written by a manga artist.
Yeah. He said before, where he's like, guys, don't be scared of me. I'm not Rohan. Like, I'm a nice guy, and I like Rohan, but I'm not Rohan.
Yeah.
Such a good show. By far,
Like
my
is.
favorite.
epically drawing a picture by like shooting paint at it.
I like when JoJo punched the spaghetti. Anyone who hasn't seen JoJo has no idea what we're talking about, but
Yeah, they need to go see JoJo.
It's-
is basically what they need
Yeah,
to
like
do.
It is
even
my
the first
favorite
season,
shonen
like,
anime.
All of the show, it does such a really great thing. It's hard to not just explode over all of it because I like all the things.
Yeah, and I've talked about it before that the first arc isn't my favorite, but the overall quality of JoJo is by far my favorite shonen anime.
Oh, I agree. I mean,
Assassination
yeah, I'll
Classroom's
probably
really
have to
good,
agree with that.
but JoJo's better.
Honestly, it's hard to say with the first arc for me because the path development of how everything went and how they couldn't even beat the final boss. They had to just get rid of him.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the world would have been fucked over. At
Yeah.
least at that point in time.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I feel like I probably, if I go back and watch the first and second arcs, I'll appreciate them more. Because I know further back, it's like almost like a prequel instead of like a main running show. But when I first started watching, I could not make it through the first arc. But, yeah. I'm sure I've mentioned that before on this podcast. Yeah, JoJo's really good.
Yeah, JoJo's
It
great.
has some of the best
And
quotes of any anime in general.
I'm really liking Sweetness and Lightning, 91 Days, Berserk, freaking. What else am I watching? ReZero, Starting Life in Another World.
I need to watch ReZero.
It's super fucking good.
But I'm watching Fate Clannad Prisma Ilia and getting creeped out over it.
Can you not watch one? Like,
Not currently.
just
I don't
watch
have
one
a whole lot of
episode.
free time. I will have more free
Okay,
time
well-
Sunday, as I'm going to part-time.
Okay.
Yeah.
binge watch?
Yeah.
You're
You're going to
actually changing back
part-time.
part-time?
I didn't change back to part-time. They hired me at part-time, and I've been full-time since day one I started.
Why?
Because of training, and then more training, and then switching from training to my schedule has just been full-time hours.
Nightmarish, basically.
I get trained faster, but I don't get to see anime or play video games.
Actually, when you confiscate all of the anime you see,
Yeah, I'm like, ugh, Monster Mizume, jail to you. And then I
Garbage.
jail to you.
jail to you. They don't want to hear
Whoever's
any.
editing this podcast and they don't put that image up
Yeah.
or a GIF or something.
God, But yeah, JoJo has some of the best and most memorable quotes ever. Like I could sit here
Oh,
quoting
yeah.
JoJo forever. Like I don't know. I love the way that one thing I do really like about the first arc is Dio. Just in general, Dio.
It was
Yeah,
me,
Dio's great.
Specifically the way Dio says the word JoJo.
Jojo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JoJo.
JoJo.
And it's just
Shoujo.
Jojo. Yeah, it's great.
and then, but it was me, Dio.
But it was me, Dio.
Yeah, there's some good quotes in the first arc for sure.
Uh,
And the second arc with Strawheim, also very good. And Joseph Joestar.
yeah, Joseph Joestar was pretty good too.
And I also realized that he's been the character in all 4 seasons.
He wasn't in the first one though.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't even
Season
born.
1 is the combination of both.
Oh,
of those.
I get. I get you. But I meant like part 1 with Jonathan Joestar. He wasn't in that.
That's the only time he wasn't there. And that's 10 episodes.
Right.
Yeah.
Joseph Joestar, the OG.
The OG.
Who after
and probably the silliest character currently.
I was just about to say who after like half of his his squad dies and he dies, pulls a joke on John and
Oh
Jotaro.
yeah, it was. I've come back.
You've released me. It was just a
granted,
joke.
I haven't seen farther, but I'm still like, he has vampire blood in him.
Gee.
Okay.
What you're gonna learn about this show is like don't hold on to little details like that.
Shut up.
Those
But
those
that's
will
how they
never.
kill Vanilla
Nope.
Ice. That's not a little detail.
Nope. Don't worry about it. It is yet to be brought up in Diamond, and I'm what episode on Diamond I am
I think
on
it's
right now?
20 right now.
Even-
I have so
there-
much
I'm
it
new
can only be
21 is
20,
coming
and there's,
out.
Like, kind of how many episodes?
39.
For Diamond?
39.
39.
So yeah,
so
it
we're
still could easily be a part. Like, what would have to happen? Is
Maybe.
he'd have to suffer a super fatal like injury or punch, and then go like knocked out, and then they'd be like, and then it would happen. According to what happened to Ice, is like he got stabbed super lots, and then he became a vampire.
And same with Dio, I believe he gets shot
Yes.
multiple times by the police.
Yeah, he got
He's
shot and
'cause he's
shoved
a
out
thug.
the window after he does the whole ritual thing.
Yeah.
But then again,
God.
like when Dio first used the mask, it was like kind of instant for the guy he used the mask on.
I really want to start reading the manga because the next arc with the next JoJo is Giorno Giovanni is the name of the JoJo. And I'm going to say JoJo because that's the way Dio pronounces it, and I love it. And it's like an Italian JoJo.
I'm looking forward to
There's
that.
a stand called Aerosmith, which is just a little airplane that the guy like stretches out his arms when he poses, and it lands on his arms like a runway. And I'm like, ah, this is sick.
That's so badass. That is
So many cool stands. So many cool JoJos.
Yeah, JoJo's definitely an anime I would suggest getting into. I mean, if you can accept silliness,
If you
satirical
like
things,
silly,
and crazy.
if you like silly anime,
It's silly. It's silly anime. It's like anime that's not all it's super serious, but at the same time, it actually has a pretty nice story.
yeah.
Like
I think that's why I
in
didn't like
between
the
each
first.
episodes. They have silly things that happen in them, but the overall story is pretty nice, and the soundtrack, especially for the first season, is pretty damn interesting. It's
Pillow
one
Man.
of the few places that uses dubstep good. It's so weird.
Pillow
Like,
Man
dubstep
Awakened.
Aztec enemies is one of the last things that you'd imagine would be the final bosses.
Yeah, it's solid. I mean, anime in general is by far one of my favorite mediums right now. Like it's YouTube, anime, video games, and that's like mainly my life. I'm trying to get back into Netflix because of Stranger Things and Mr. Robot, which are Netflix original series, and they're very short, and everyone's raving about them.
The
so I need to check
100
it
is
out.
also pretty good. It's a CW show that's
Yeah.
also on Netflix.
I also need to check out what the fuck was it? Oh God, what was it?
Reacher?
No. Fuck.
Voltron?
Maybe Voltron. That's what it was. Voltron.
Yeah. I still also need to watch Voltron on Netflix.
because people are saying that it's solid and it's 2D animated, which is great.
Samurai Jack's coming back at some point, and it's gonna be
Oh,
TVMA.
yeah.
Did we talk about that at all on the podcast?
I don't think
It's been brought up
so.
a couple times since it was announced.
Okay, it's hype.
No.
And I was
Hype
like,
as
how are
fuck,
they gonna
dude.
make it TVMA? And then I thought back to Samurai Jack, and the only reason it wasn't TVMA back then was because he was cutting up robots.
Yeah.
Like, just replace robots with anything that's alive, and it's like,
there was
oh, that's
still
where
a
the
decent
TVMA.
amount of like gut stuff, and he was still fighting a decent amount of like humanoid things at the time.
But I think
There
the
was a
whole
couple
gist
stuff
was that,
could have been more than it was.
right. But I think the whole thing, especially with Samurai Jack, was when it first aired, was that a lot of the enemies he fought were robots. He would do those things where he like slices it and it like slides off, and you see the cross section of the inside. And you're like, oh, gross. And it looks almost organic, but you're like, oh, that's a robot. But
Yeah.
they could easily, once they start fighting living things, you're like, okay, that's where that TVMA is going to come in.
I caught a interview from, like, it was just on YouTube somewhere, of the creator talking about like the direction of the show and the maturity not changing the theming and the like core of the show. Like, there will be some mature themes and
Not just going all
But
out
at-
with it.
exactly, but at the same time it's not going to go pedal to the metal kind of and just go crazy with the themes.
They're
It'll
just gonna
only
not
fit
restrict
the core of the
themselves
show.
anymore.
Exactly. It's like taking the blinders off, but still traveling down to the finish line.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm super.
which I appreciate.
God, it's going to be awesome. Yeah, animation and anime and YouTube stuff, I just feel at the moment lends itself to a good amount of creativity.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And also a great platform to discuss social issues as well.
Yeah.
It like, I don't know. It breeds different environments. Like, some people will understand that you should take everything with a grain of salt and skepticism, and understand like what even the person that is presenting the argument or presenting the free speech thing isn't supposed to be a be end all, source,
Right.
An all be end all, source for the subject matter. However, it's still something to talk about. It's just basically me dancing around saying certain things. I just don't. I feel like our platform isn't, like, our goal isn't to be a commentary or like a social statement. Our goal is to be entertaining. So
Yeah.
I try to dance around that a lot.
Yeah, exactly. For sure. Exactly. I need to finish High School Fleet. I haven't done that yet.
What?
I was just thinking about that. I was just thinking about anime again. I'm like,
where did that come from?
I was just thinking about anime again, and then I'm like, oh, I still have 2 episodes of that left I need to watch.
And anime on the mind.
Oh, God. Can
Yeah.
I talk about Fakeland and Prisma Ilia a bit?
Sure.
How it's
I
creeping me the
guess.
fuck out.
Oh yeah,
Is
like
it-
what is so creepy
Okay.
about this anime?
Okay,
Enough
so
of it.
I don't know if I think I talked about it on the TFT Talks anime at some point. But basically, it's a spin-off series about a character named Ilya, who is one of the mages in the Fate series. And if you don't know the Fate series, a bunch of mages summon stands, and they do battle for the Holy Grail, whatever. And she was like a little girl character, and she gets iced really quick by Gilgamesh. And you're like, oh, sad. And then she gets her own series. And it's in a weird alternative world where she is the main character, and she becomes a magical girl. And it's great because all the little things about her family are, like, fine now. Like, there's a character in Fate Zero that's her dad, and it's, like, kind of a bummer. And he goes on to adopt the main character of Fate, Unlimited Blade Works, and Night Zero, Shiro, while abandoning his daughter, and it's sad. But in this universe, they're one big happy family, which is great because that character as a dad is a great idea. And the mom's still alive and all that. And it's like a happy slice of life thing where it's like, I'm like if Attack on Titan had a spin-off series where everything was just fine. You know what I mean? Like where Eren goes
But no,
and
the-
joins the
they-
circus or something stupid.
like they discover like right away who the alternate Titans are, so they never have a chance to like do the shenanigans.
Or not even that they discover them right away, is that they discover them, but the alternate Titans don't have any sort of menace against humanity, and they just kind of coexist happily with some slice of life
born, like,
hijinks.
on the rebel side, so that they're already fighting with the good guys.
Oh yeah, but you get what I mean. It's like it's a slice of life. It becomes, instead of like dramatic quest, it becomes slice of life. But it's starting to creep me out because, one, there's way too many bath scenes, and I know in Japan culture, baths are whatever. No one cares. You can bathe with relatives and it's fine. But to an American watcher who is me, I'm like, this is creeping me out a little bit. There's too many elementary girls kissing each other. And
What?
degeneracy, I'd say.
Degeneracy everywhere.
Did
You're
you
blinded
just have
by
that get
Japanese
playing in your mind
degeneracy.
the entire time?
Fucking degenerate.
Fucking degenerate.
Yeah.
Fucking degenerates. Also,
And she has a weird
slightly.
crush on her stepbrother, and I don't like it.
I mean,
Won't
it's
stand for the
stepbrother
sickness
though.
in Uganda.
It's
Okay, step is a different thing.
I know, but you're like, it's funny still. Like, I'm still laughing at the jokes that they tell, but at the same time, like, ha ha ha. You know what I mean?
yeah, it's
just a different.
Is it on the same level as Monster Musume?
No,
but like
no,
less mature.
no. It's not that creepy. It's a little creepy.
Okay. It's just a smidge creepy.
And I think I said it best in the anime chat, where I'm like, I want it to go back to its wholesome original roots when she's getting brutally murdered by a Babylonian king, and I'm like, wait.
yeah, basically.
I don't know. I guess that's just a culture perspective, where it's like, especially American culture, violence is like, when you see it, you're like, whatever. And then when there's anything remotely sexual, you're kind of creeped out. But it really should be the opposite.
Yeah.
In all honesty.
Or just a fair balance of both.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like, one thing is like natural reproduction, and the other is murder. Like, and then you're like, oh, I think.
Well,
I
fighting,
think.
you can also argue that fighting is kind of natural for humans.
I guess that's true, but you know what I mean. It's like, one, you're like, on a grand scale of things, is this elementary girl kissing her elementary girlfriend that bad compared to the previous season? She gets killed by a Babylonian king. Spoilers.
Yeah. Also, I want to say hello to Slightly Superior. He's Australian, and he's a cool dude.
Nice. Is it Superior with a U or with an E like the Pokemon?
Superior.
Gotcha.
So, as superior as in superior to you.
Gotcha.
But only slightly.
But only slightly. Not like the Pokemon.
Exactly. Not like the Pokemon. Which is superior to us all. Amen.
What?
No, but... what was I going to fucking say? Also, Tejan Lee.
Oh. Yeah, so I feel like,
arena.
I don't know, it's just kind of a weird thing where it's like, you realize that your perspective on things is slightly skewed by the media that is predominant in your culture, where you're like, violence I had no problem with. Well, it made me sad, but I had no problem with. But like anything that's slightly romantic or sexualized, I'm like, ugh, gross. To jail.
Yeah. to jail. To
But
jail
if you
with
were
you.
in the other culture, it would be like, oh my
The
gosh,
opposite.
there's smoking? What the fuck?
That was one thing in JoJo that was so funny, is whenever Jotaro smokes up a cigarette, his face just turns black because of the sensor bar.
Really?
Yeah, do you ever notice that? He smokes up a cigarette like twice in the seasons, and in both times
like Stardust, right?
Yeah, Stardust.
And Crusader. I remember this now. What the fuck?
And there was that one scene where he's like playing poker and he lights up a cigarette and his entire face turns black, and you're like, that's weird.
God, I mean, I know smoking's bad, but I mean, as long as you don't do it in a place where my health can be affected for a long period of time, I don't give a shit. Like, if you're gonna do it at your own personal home or like on your porch or in your backyard, that is not gonna affect my livelihood. Or being exposed to that won't affect my livelihood permanently.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know. It's
unless you vape, and then you're killing our culture. Stop it.
Yeah, yeah, basically. If you vape, you're a disgusting shit
To jail.
posting meme lord.
To jail with you.
To jail.
Jail to you.
Do you guys watch Philip DeFranco at
A
all?
little bit, yeah.
Did you watch his most current video today?
No.
Well, so I'm gonna give you a bit of a background. So there's this guy called Louis, like travel blogs or vlogs or whatever. So he goes around the world and he takes you with him via camera, basically. And this last vlog, or the last few series of vlogs that he did, video journals, I guess, whatever you fucking want to call them, he went to North Korea.
Cool.
Which is cool because not too many people get to go there. It's very
Wait, how did he get
like, he
Invited, probably.
he was kind of invited / asked, because it's like, as someone who's traveled all across the world and shown people all these different things, like there's very little to nothing people have already seen before. So I guess maybe as a YouTuber bringing, and he's a very positive YouTuber, like he tries to be positive, he tries to show the positive view in the world, because sometimes that's necessary, because there's a lot of cynicism online and in real life, just everywhere you go, really. So I can respect him for that, like Philip DeFranco does. But one of the major things he's being criticized for is like his tour and like his film, like his videos that he was allowed to film, and the people that he was allowed to talk to were very curated.
Right.
Meaning like he was only shown very, very specific things, and the people that he hung out with / spent time with were probably picked,
right,
and molded to be a certain way.
Do you expect anything different from North Korea though? Like that was
not at all. That's not out of the ordinary. What's out of the ordinary, basically the criticism he's getting is because it's like it's painting a positive image for North Korea and the 1% of the country that rules North Korea and its totalitarian regime. So he's getting criticized because it's like it's not representative of what North Korea actually is. But
he doesn't reference the fact that it's curated. Like he's not like, these are my state-appointed tour guides. He's like, oh, I went with these tour guides and we're gonna go look at this thing in North Korea. Whoa!
Well, I mean, in his description, he dances around that because he's not in North Korea anymore. However, the people who invited him to go and the people that he hung out,
has to be careful when he's actually filming it because he's still there.
Yeah, that and the people that live in that country that invited him / like made it possible for him to go over there could be them and their families could be jailed if he missteps verbally.
Right.
So he can't necessarily he's in this really awkward position where it's like if he states how like he maybe even if he filmed something that he wasn't allowed to film by accident or on purpose, he wouldn't be able to release that footage. He wouldn't be able to do anything because the people captured
like
would be
all his army footage on his camcorder, like secret government stuff, but that it's just like he can't release it.
Yeah, it puts at risk a lot of people that he interacted with or could have possibly interacted with. So if anything, this proves to the world that North Korea that something needs to be done. Because it is not a place.
Have you seen the Vice documentary on North Korea when they went?
No, actually, I didn't.
It's really cool because they weren't invited to North Korea. They kind of sneak their way in through China.
Oh, really?
Well, not sneak.
Wow.
That makes me sound like they're like crawling under barbed wire fences. But no, they like bribe officials to get in through China. And they're followed by state-appointed tour guides who are like, yeah, here's your hotel room. Like, can we go outside? No. Like... And then every morning, the tour guide knock on the door and they're like, hey, we're going on a tour. We will accompany you. And you will not go anywhere else. Like, and they sort of film that side of it, where it's like them being led to this ship that was captured by North Korea that was American. And they were talking about how the Americans are the white devils who were attacking North Koreans during I believe it was the 1960s was when it took place. But that's not true at all. It's like a propaganda museum. And they're going to them, those state officials, and they go to this mountain resort where there's only one person besides their state appointed tour guide. And they're another state appointed tour guide. and they talk to her, and they kind of actually like it was like a really heart touching moment because they actually are like talking with her and hanging out with her, and the two of them are having a blast, like him and this North Korean girl. And he's like, talking with her and interacting with. They're like playing ping pong together, which is
Oh
adorable.
wow.
And they were like talking. Goes, yeah, you came to realize that she probably has not seen another human being in 6 months, and has been
Holy
here
shit.
waiting for tourists in quotes to come through. And you're like, oh yeah, she was
Because it's her job.
she was a tea salesman at the resort, if I remember correctly, and that was her job. She was government appointed tea salesman with a little tea shop that she sat there for 6 months because no one goes there. That's not
And she probably has a family
exactly.
that she can't visit
Exactly.
because. Yeah,
Or then they go
God.
to the Great Leader Memorial where you see people praying, and they are like, "You're gonna pray," like they're like, "Yeah, you can pray to the Great Leader," and they're like, "Ah," and they're like, "You can pray to the Great Leader," and he's like, "Okay, like pray to the Great Leader," and you're like, "Oh, okay," like, and they go
Yeah,
to the
that's-
hotel dining room where they're the only ones, but they lay out food for the entire banquet hall, and then at the end they pick that food back up and carefully place it and holders for the next day, where they'll place that same food out for an empty dining hall. And you're like,
That's so fucking eerie
it's
and
really
creepy and weird.
Yeah. You should watch it. It's Vice. Vice goes to North Korea, I believe.
How long is it?
It's 3 parts. I think in total it's probably around 2 hours, but it's really
Yeah.
interesting.
I'll have to take a look into that because.
I think they have a cut down version that's like 45 minutes or something like that.
Okay, cool.
But yeah. But they all along they're like, yeah. Oh, they went to karaoke too, and that was fun.
That's
They
cool.
only played North Korean songs on the karaoke machine.
How many songs?
There were
are
like
there,
5,
though? Oh, nice. I guess.
and I think they like at
Are
one
they
point
all like praise whatever songs?
pretty much they're all like the great and laborious people of North Korea.
What is keeping North Korea afloat? Like, what's the purpose of North Korea? Like, is there some way that the UN or multiple people could unite and dismantle what is North Korea?
Well,
Like,
the issue
Gorbachev
is
tear down the
that
wall kind of thing?
while we're powerful, it's the cornered like rat scenario, where even if we're like this powerful thing, it's not like there wouldn't be massive repercussions for just kind of
Exactly.
closing in. And there's also so many awkward rules within our own countries that make it difficult for something like that to happen, because like especially if we like say America wants to take action, other countries, well, they might not like North Korea, they might not like us just kind of having our way with the world.
Exactly. And they actually
there has to be some type of platform.
while
that
the
can
West
stand up for the North Korean people.
while the West isn't exactly filled with North Korea, obviously, they do have semi good relations with China and Russia, I believe, due to obviously historical background of them being former communist nations.
Communists, yeah.
And they still have some trade, and it's strategic, kind of in that both China and Russia probably don't want America coming into North Korea being like, freedom, pew, pew, pew.
So what would we have to offer up or trade to Russia and China for them to dismantle the the current leadership and in place their own puppet leader? Like, what do you think that would? Because that's the more
Would that be
realistic
any
approach.
better? Probably.
I
yes,
mean, probably if it's because basically it would open up more trade and more tourism, and then basically just a shit ton of infrastructure building, and then you just basically take care of the citizen.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of things you can do.
honestly, I don't know.
Like,
You also have to keep
there
in
has to
mind
be
the
something.
people of North Korea, while completely innocent. Well, I don't want to say it. When I say people, I mean like the average citizenry. I don't mean the government and all that.
Yeah, the people and families that are there because their families were there to begin with.
Exactly, and they're
or
completely
they're literally like fed information, so they don't understand the lives out in other places.
exactly, and they're completely ignorant of the fact that they're being oppressed in most cases. You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure that sounds somewhat condescending, being like, they don't even know that they're oppressed. But at the same time, they don't really know that they're oppressed. And, oh gosh, it was during the Alamo screening of the interview, they showed North Korean propaganda cartoons. And it's like children are taught that during the Korean War, Americans put germs into insects and sent those insects into farms in North Korea. And they're taught that America is waiting like a pack of wolves to pounce on them at any moment. And that they need to go to school and study hard to fight the American devils. So they're not exactly going to be thrilled with this, being like, hey, we're bringing you freedom. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like we did that somewhat during our wars to a lot of the enemies, but they're still doing it, even out of like direct conflict situations.
I'm not saying necessarily America, but we like the Western world or just the civilized world needs to step in and do something, because like if you have a even slightly dissenting opinion, that can get you and your whole entire family sentenced to jail or a work camp or death. It's the highest, like I think the UN said it's the like worst offender of like human or civil rights
Probably
to date in the current world. And that's kind of like, there's a lot of other bad like countries or like crappy countries, you know, when it comes to human rights that the North Korea has to compete with. So for them to be the number one shittiest place when it comes to having human rights, it's definitely something. It paints a certain picture.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, it's not a great country by any means. Also, to tie together anime and North Korea, the people who made Panzer Medals are making another game called Go Go People's Democratic Republic of Korea.
What?
And it's the premise that you go to visit Korea and that your state-appointed tour guides are the harem for you, and it sounds hilarious.
That's amazing.
For some reason, I just thought of that, but yeah. I think they actually renamed it instead of Go Go People's Democratic Republic of North Korea for copyright reasons. Because of Go Go Nippon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stay.
I thought it was
Yeah.
by those Go-Go Nippon people.
No, I think it was a parody. It was like, yeah, I think they called it like Stay People Democratic Republic of North Korea. But it has a new working name or something. Yeah.
Is it a visual novel or is it
No,
a
it's
dating
a visual novel. I guess dating sim. They're basically the same thing.
No, because the dating sim has elements of gameplay, and a visual novel is just you click buttons and you make maybe one or two, maybe 3 or 4 decisions, depending on how much work the visual novel creators put in. I just want to make a distinction, because there are people out there who play a fuck ton of dating sims, and it's like, no, there's way more than just visual novel aspects.
Fine. Whatever.
You fuck.
To jail with you.
To jail. Who are you? Kim Jong-un?
Yeah.
But them's the jokes. I don't know.
Yeah. So watch the Vice documentary. It's really interesting.
Yeah. I've actually, even though like a lot of those companies are very like one-sided and with their agenda / narrative, like Vox and Vice and Gawker and those, like when it comes to when it's not talking about like when it's more of like the documentary setting,
right,
it seems less biased and more objective and like
Vice.
It's interesting.
Vice video documentaries where they go to different countries are spot on, awesome. Like the one where they went to Somex and the Republic of Jordan, which is the military convention. It's so cool.
Oh yeah, with the guns and everything.
Yeah, it's not just guns. It's like paramilitary convention where they sell like attack helicopters and Abrams tanks.
Yeah, I watched that one.
That's so sick.
And it was just so crazy because they had a ex-Marine with them, right?
Right, yeah.
And they just talked about, like, he was like, these are the missiles that they shot at us.
Yeah. And now they're on sale
like,
with booth babes. Yeah, it's a weird. And they have like booth babes where they're like, yes, this is our Javelin anti-tank missile, and they like pose with it, and you're like, what? This is.
And they know like facts about it and
exactly.
stuff.
It's so weird. It's like Imagine PAX, but with military weaponry. And the one they did on Libya when it was during that revolution was also really good.
Yeah,
Oh, and
they do some
Ireland.
good work.
North Ireland, also a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll have to go back and watch some of
Yeah,
those. Because I don't really put any time or work into basically I don't make any time for documentaries, and I feel like I should because that's a genre I quite enjoy sometimes.
Yeah, there's some really good ones. So like even pseudo documentaries, like the one I'll always remember was, I don't know if anyone have ever heard of this show called Destination Truth on the Sci-Fi Channel.
No, I don't think so.
You know Ghost Hunters, where they go to wherever and hunt ghosts? It's
Yeah.
the same premise, but they hunt like pseudo magic monsters. But it sounds really fucking stupid. But it's the greatest it's like the greatest scam I've ever seen someone pull when making a TV show. Because what it is they're like, yeah, we heard about this fucking magic dragon in Scotland. And so the Sci-Fi Channel paid us to fly out to Scotland, and it's like 30 minutes of them like going around Scotland, like going to pubs and going on hijinks, and then like go out in the woods for one night with a night vision camera. Like, oh, did you hear that? Did you hear it? There's something in the water. Just, and then like wake up the next morning, they're like, it probably wasn't a dragon. Anyway, tune in tomorrow. We're going to Japan's suicide forest where there might be ghosts, and you're like, oh my god, that's brilliant. You literally just
those
fly around the
shows
world.
annoy me because if there was any sort of thing like that, one of two things would happen. Either it would be a massive, like the news would practically like masturbate over it, or it would be covered up so dang quickly. There's no way it would just be announced on a private show. It would be like government stabbed.
Yeah, at some point the news will be like, holy shit, ghosts are real. Tonight
Yeah,
at 7.
it would be one of those things would happen, or the worst one would be like that happens, but the government doesn't like it, and
Right.
they try to do like they kind of throw fits about it in their own way.
I just found an underwater
I agree with
Chinese
Wubs.
ghost base. Like
They found our Chinese ghost, underwater Chinese
that
ghost
was the
base.
best way I've heard Soma described. By the way, is that it was like several reviews called it the spooky underwater Chinese ghost base, and I'm like, yes.
That's kind of clever. That's super clever. I agree with your sentiment, Wubs, when you mentioned the fact that this is brilliant on the creators of the show's behalf because they get to travel the world for free.
Yeah, exactly.
Spend maybe 2 or 3 hours at night
Fucking around in the woods
for one day.
and then they're like, yeah, it's probably like a boat or something. Anyway,
I want to see because they've done shows and stuff where like the person actually meets. I want to see like they turn around. It's like, oh, there's totally not and then there's like the big dragon eye staring at him.
just one final troll episode. But yeah, it's like, and this castle was built in Scotland around 1600s, and it had the Baron of whatever, and blah 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 blah. Are there ghosts in here? And they're like, dick around for an hour or two, and then they're like, nah, probably not. There's probably like an owl or something. Anyway, join us next time as we head to the deserts of Australia. And you're like,
that's so cool.
You're like, show is a scam, but it's hilarious, and I love it.
Speaking of
do they try to
brilliant,
cover it up a lot, or are they like kind of clearly just like, eh?
And no, they're like, well, reports of flying objects in the area. There are the local bone owls, which do emit a screech.
they make the attempt.
Yeah,
they make the attempt.
So whether or not it is a ghost is unclear. But we do know that there are owls here, and they do make the sounds that people have reported, so make up your own mind on Destination Truth. And you're like,
Yeah, that's fair. Like, if there was things that you can't just like flat out say,
But they at least-
this was this.
yeah, they at least offer alternate explanation, being like, it was probably a ghost. So like, no, there are bone owls in this area that have been known to inhabit spooky castles who let
You
out
see
shrieks like that.
The last episode of the season is like them in a panic scream, and it's like a 5-minute long episode of them like, "Don't go to this area, don't."
But it's hilarious because they look for like shit. You're like, what? Like, are there leprechauns in Ireland? We fly to Ireland and stay at a castle for a night. And you're like, you get paid to do this?
Open, do they give us Lucky Charms?
No, the best one, I think it wasn't fairies. But I think fairies were an episode where like, oh, there are fairies in Iceland. We fly to Iceland and hang out at a sauna for like half an hour. And then we go out into the mountains of Iceland for a night and dick around with night vision cameras. And then they're like, nah, probably not. And then just go to the next place. And you're like, God, this show is amazing. Because it's literally
But
45
not-
minutes of hijinks and then
That
like
would be
15 minutes
so
of the
weird
woods.
to be like, okay, I guess we have to go look in quotes for the ghosts now.
We have to go
Yeah.
look for the leprechauns, guys.
Yeah.
I still
I love how they
would.
would.
One of their reactions would be like, maybe people set up a prank or something to where they like, oh, is there actually some super creature here?
Like the editor has to edit out like chuckles and like sarcastic like mentions of or mumblings of like, let's go look for the leprechauns.
All right, I pulled up Destination Truth. It has a 7.5 on IMDb and 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. It's a good show. You should watch it. But
All
I'm
right.
going to name some of these episodes. Season 5, Episode 7, Vampire Monsters.
Oh gosh.
Alien Invados, Haunted Island Ruins,
With a question mark?
Guam Zombies,
Guam zombies.
Ghosts of
Wombies,
Antarctica.
as they're called.
Ghosts of Antarctica. They went to
Gwambies.
Antarctica for TV to find ghosts. Yeah, it's a ghost
I mean,
fleet.
that
Japanese
might be a
river
little
monster.
uncomfortable for that one there.
That would be cool though. The Bhutan Yeti.
Yeah.
Ghosts of the Great Wall. Like you just read all these and you're like, these people got paid to go to these places. King Tut's Coast, Swamp Ape.
I'd like to imagine like the people there that have to receive them is like, we're gonna go look for the ghosts.
We're
This
gonna go
is an
look for
important
the
part of our-
leprechauns, and
our
they're like,
TV shows."
are you serious? Like the Josie Devil. That one they just went to New Jersey. That wasn't a Israeli mermaid.
Yeah, Israel. I mean, that probably would be kind of cool.
Icelandic elves. That was the episode I was thinking of. Sea monsters and
You know
bat
what's-
demons.
So, I also want to kind of, you've all been a part of this brilliant scheme all along, where we tricked you to listening to us and promising you entertainment, but in all that reality, you're been given hijinks.
Swamp monsters. Swamp ape.
It's swamp monsters
Swamp dinosaur.
giving you
is
swamp
an ep-
aids. What?
Sorry, I'm just reading off
But-
some of these episodes. Yowie. Not like the Japanese
More
Yowie,
importantly,
with it's
if
just
you don't want the
gay voices.
Gwambies to eat your brains and stay, you basically want to fight off the Gwambies, you should check us out on Facebook. leave us a like there, and that'll totally protect you from the Gwambies. If you want to keep the swamp monsters from molesting you and giving you swamp aids, go to our Facebook or YouTube channel and give us a subscription. That'll give you a protective charm and protect you from the space aids and the swamp aids. Also, if you simply go to the social panel, you'll be able to find all of our social links and follow us there to keep up with our content and all of our awesome protection charms. My name is Zach, and I hope you guys have a wonderful evening.
Join us next time as we go look for Antarctic alien invader elves.